For each target hit beyond the first, up to 60% down from 90%. Man, massive nerfs. Patch simple on PTR that mind class and tier changes. So we also have class changes. Okay, there we go. Oh, Blind Fury. Rank 1, IB generates Sonic Fury every second, and its damage and duration are increased by 10% instead of 25%. Wow. Okay, IB on the rank 2 is by... Oh, yo, isn't this a big nerf, man? The rank 2 overall damage boost is lower than the prior rank 1 boost was, dude. Yo, Havoc's getting slapped. I mean, of course, this is just like one talent, sure. Havoc is doing a lot of damage. It never struck me that Havoc was in need of nerfs. Oh my god. Am I seeing buffs to Druid, to balance? Okay, listen. It's okay, shut up. Let's go. Balanced Druid Wrath is getting a buff, which actually that's fair because Balanced Druid single target is atrocious. Maybe actually one of the worst in the game. This actually needs changing. I don't know about the AoE because Balanced Druid is losing massive amounts of damage through its tier set. Balanced Druid had the strongest force set in Season 1 by far above everybody, and we're losing that as Balanced Druids. So I don't know how much they need to nerf AoE in 10.1. I guess we'll have to see. However, Wrath being buffed, this is a very tiny buff. I don't think this is enough. Balance has massive issues in single target, but let's see. There's a bunch of talents here. Denizens of the Dream. Your Moonfire and Sunfire have a chance to summon a Fairy Dragon to assist you in battle for 30 seconds. Procs per minute change from 2 to 1. Wow, they've nerfed this. They just buffed this. Oh man, why? They buffed it because it wasn't doing enough damage. Now they nerfed it by half? And this is single target. Was this overperforming? I know Nagura and Tettles and Chicken had some thoughts on these, and eventually I forgot exactly what it was. I don't remember if it was ever like massive. I don't think this was massive damage, and obviously it's not in 10.1. It's so bad, it barely affects your single target. They buffed it, and now they're nerfing it. Okay, maybe it has something to do with the tier sets, which we haven't seen yet, so let's move on. Fury of Walloon. Calls down a beam of pure celestial energy that follows the enemy, dealing damage, blah, blah, blah. Okay, they buffed the astral power generation from 40 to 48, which I guess that's great. It's a buff, so that's 8 extra astral power over his duration. That's... I mean, in the sense of a buff, I guess we'll take it. New Moon buffed to generate 12 astral power from 10 astral power. Also not entirely convinced that this is where the issue was. Oh my god, don't tell me they've nerfed Power of Goldrin. Oh no, 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 no. Star Surge has a chance to summon the Spirit of Goldrin, which immediately deals 71% spell power instead of the 78. Again, they're nerfing single target. Balanced Druid is one of the worst single target specs in the game though. Am I missing something? I must be missing something here. The tier set would have to go a long way to offer good single target damage to Balanced Druid that would warrant a Power of Goldrin nerf. Alright, rattle the stars. Star Surge and Starfall reduces the cost of Star Surge and Starfall by 5% and increase their damage by 8% instead of 10. Also a nerf. Maybe this is fine. This is fine in the sense that Rattle the Stars is something that you would use in big dungeons and big AoE. Clearly, Balanced Druid is one of the best AoE targets. I'm not that sad about this nerf. I think it's kind of warranted. However, context is important here, people, because Rattle the Stars, well, you know, Balanced Druid is also very strong in AoE because of our tier set that we're also losing. So on top of losing our tier set, we're also getting a lot of talent nerfs. This might be rough. Okay, Shooting Stars. What happens to Shooting Stars? Moonfire and Sunfire damage over time has a chance to call down a falling star, dealing astral damage, journey to astral power. I'm not sure what this aura is supposed to mean. Does this mean it's getting a 2% buff from 15 to 17? Or procs per minute from 15 to 17? Either way, 17 is bigger than 15, and bigger is always better. That's what she always said. Soul of the Forest. Solar Eclipse increases Wrath astral power generation by 30%. Astral power nerfed. And Lunar Eclipse increases Starfire's damage and astral power generation by 20% instead of the 30%. Damage also nerfed for each target hit beyond the first, up to 60%, down from 90%. Man, massive nerfs. Listen, I mean, I'm not entirely opposed to balance being nerfed, but are we keeping these in check with the tier sets? It's my actual question. Stellar Flare getting buffed. Okay, well, that's interesting. So it burns the target for 40% of your spell power, up from 12.5. Then an additional 117.6% of your spell power, up from 105. And it generates 12 astral power, up from 10. Now, they initially nerfed Stellar Flare because they didn't like the fact that we could, or that we needed to spam this in AoE. Now they're buffing it again. Is this... I mean, it's probably still nerfed because it's not affecting shooting stars anymore. This is a single target spell, at least that's how the design is supposed to be, meaning that this is a single target buff. We're also getting single target nerf, so I don't know... Are they trying to change the damage profile from stuff like Goldrin to Stellar Flare, which, I mean, I don't particularly mind. Goldrin is pretty much passive. Okay, so overall, big balance nerfs. Some of them might be needed, but some of them also affect single target. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this, though. I guess we'll see. I guess we actually need some PV testing. Guardian Druid. Oh, okay. Layered Main has been buffed. Iron 4 has a 10% chance to apply 2 stacks, and Frenzy Regen has a 10% chance to not consume. Okay, this has been buffed. This has been a pretty bad talent overall. And rank 2 is 20%, so this proc chance has been doubled. And also, Frenzy Regen has a 20% chance to not consume a charge. I'm still not entirely convinced that this talent is gonna be good. Also, at the same time, this is not what Guardian needs. It seems that the devs constantly give Guardian more and more armor when the problem is not armor, even though we've specified this a bunch of times. The Guardian community have specified it a bunch of times. We have big forum feedbacks and Wowhead article feedbacks about the issue that Guardian Druid has with magic damage. The tier sets have been also changed, so I'm not sure how this matches with the tier set, so I guess we'll see there, because the tier set for Guardian Druid is particularly powerful. I actually expect in the tier set changes for them to be nerfed, so we'll see. Reinvigoration also buffed. Frenzy Regen cooldown is reduced by 20%. Okay, this, however, is slightly better. Although it's not amazing, Frenzy Regen is kind of the only active mitigation you have for magic damage. Iron Fur does not affect magic damage whatsoever, and outside of Bark Skin and Survival Instincts and just like passive healing that you have, you don't really have magic damage mitigation. You don't have stuff like Spell Reflect. You don't... Even AMS is really good, or passive magic damage reduction like you would for Vengeance, or even flat damage reduction that you have from prop allies by sitting in Consecration and from their Mastery. So you don't have that. Bear just has a lot of HP. Not, you know, kind of, it's supposed to, but it's not that big. Buffing the healing... Like, all of this is nice, but they do have to take Frenzy Regen off the GCD. It should be similar to Ignore Pain. Shaman, PvP. Oh, Enhancement. Okay. Elemental weapons. Each active weapon imbue increases all fire, frost, and nature damage by point... Okay, listen, Enhancement is doing outrageous amounts of damage, so I guess a nerf is pretty understandable. I guess this is a nerf, but it's weird to say, oh, I get a 1 point, like a 0.5% increase. Yes, 0.5%. Feel really good about that. Improved Maelstrom weapon now increases the damage, or I guess this is a wording change, of spells it affects by 10% per stack, and the healing of spells it affects by 10% per stack. I guess this is just a wording change, I suppose. Raging Maelstrom, also a wording change, maybe. Yeah, it also feels like they're changing the wording. So instead of Maelstrom weapon now increases the damage or healing of spells, it now says Maelstrom weapon now increases the damage of spells it affects by an additional 5% per stack, and the healing of spells it affects by an additional... So I guess this is just to make things clearer, I suppose, which I guess fine. You're just gonna have like super long tooltips then. Static accumulation. This is I think a nerf. Let's see. 10% chance to refund Maelstrom weapon stack spent on Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning while Ascendance is active. Generate 1 Maelstrom weapon stack every 1 second. And the rank 2, the proc chance has been kept the same, so you don't have a 20% proc chance, but now you just generate two Maelstrom weapon every 1 second. Okay, so the Maelstrom weapon has been kept the same. The proc chance has been nerfed, kind of. It doesn't increase with rank 2 anymore. Warlock from the shadows. This is just a wording change. Oh, they're changing the name of the entire talent. Why? I'm guessing they don't want shadows to be a concept associated with demonology. No, whatever, I suppose. Channel Demon Fire buffed. This is good. I don't know if it's enough. Channel Demon Fire is not used in any of the Destruction Warlock builds, probably because it's poop. We know that the tier set initially for Destruction does feature Channel Demon Fire, so it only makes sense to buff it so that, you know, it's actually viable. However, this is just numbers. We will need to actually test it out. Shadow Burn also buffed. That's by quite a bit, actually. 16% spell power. It's quite a bit. Whoa, wait a minute. Ruin. Increase the damage of Conflagrate. Ah. Come on. It doesn't affect Channel Demon Fire anymore. Maybe that's why they buffed Channel Demon Fire. However, 10% increase in Channel Demon Fire would have been less of an increase than what it actually got. So Channel Demon Fire still does way more damage, but it's not actually buffed as much. It's just slightly more. Okay, I take away my excitement. I want my excitement back. Shadow Burn, decent buff, I guess. So these are the class changes. On top of the couple that we already knew, Boomkin is getting big nerfs. We're seeing some tweaks to Destro, some nerfs to Enhancement. So I guess it's just more class tuning, which I guess it's supposed to be fine. I'm a little bit worried about the balanced druid, but I guess we'll see it eventually.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty